Murder Whisper. Tonight's story begins on the windswept coast of Ireland. But before we begin, tell me, where in the world are you listening from? Now, let's begin. The mist came in low that afternoon, not drifting, not floating, but pressing, as if the Atlantic itself had leaned against the land and decided to listen. Rosebank Cottage stood alone at the edge of that silence. Its stone walls were weathered by salt and time. Its windows glowed faintly against the grey. Inside, there was warmth, light, order. Too much order. Mrs. Rowena Glade moved through the drawing room with deliberate precision. She adjusted teacups by fractions, aligned chairs as though symmetry itself mattered, controlled every detail as if nothing could be left to chance. This was no ordinary afternoon gathering. It was a Women's Institute charity tea, a quiet performance of civility, influence, and reputation. Pledges would be called in from the village. Announcements would travel through the old speaking tube, each contribution a small moment of theatre, and at the center of it all, the guest of honor, Mr. Lionel Peretta, a financier, a benefactor, a man whose presence alone could ensure success, but also a man who understood performance better than most. Rowena's grey silk dress caught the firelight as she moved, elegant, restrained, perfect. But her hands betrayed her, a slight tremor as she adjusted the balloon-backed chair, a pause, just a moment too long, a breath held, then released. Across the room, one woman noticed, Pádraigín O'Shea. She sat quietly, watching, observing. She did not yet know what was wrong, only that something was, and she trusted that instinct, because after 30 years of watching people, she had learned one simple truth. People lie, but rooms don't. At precisely 3 o'clock, the door opened. Lionel Peretta entered, and with him came presence, confidence, weight, expectation. He filled the room without effort, and without hesitation, he sat in the balloon-backed chair, the one Rowena had adjusted twice. Pádraigín noticed. Tea was served, conversation flowed, laughter rose easily, but beneath it, something coiled. The maid avoided eye contact. The cabinet maker lingered too close to the furniture, and Rowena watched, not as a hostess, like someone waiting for something to happen. What no one realized was that 2 plans were already in motion, Peretta's and Rowena's. Earlier that day, before any guests arrived, Peretta had spoken privately with the cabinet maker, Dean. A quiet arrangement, a subtle tampering, not to kill, but to stage, a controlled fall, a harmless incident, a moment of drama that would draw sympathy, attention, influence. Peretta understood how perception worked. He understood that weakness, if performed correctly, could become power. Dean weakened the chair, just enough, or so they believed. But Rowena had seen, and Rowena had improved the design. Then the moment came. A voice echoed through the speaking tube. 3 guineas from Major West. The room lit with laughter. Peretta leaned back in his chair, teacup in hand, laughing deeply. Then, crack. The chair failed, but not gently, not as intended. The weakened joint gave way violently, its balance destroyed, its structure compromised beyond control. Peretta fell backwards, faster than expected, harder than planned. His head struck the brass fender at exactly the wrong angle. And just like that, the laughter ended. Pádraigín moved first. She knelt beside him, checked. Still. Gone. Too fast. Too perfect. She did not look at the body for long. Instead, she looked at the floor. Her fingers touched the spilled tea, lifted slowly. She tasted it. Sugar. Impossible. And in that moment, she knew. This was not an accident. It was something far more deliberate. The storm gathered outside. Rain tapped against the windows like quiet applause. Inside, the investigation began. Inspector Doyle arrived with certainty already formed. Accident, he said. Pádraigín disagreed, and the room changed. It became something else entirely, a place of questions, a place of truth. She began with the maid. Hilda stood trembling, hands clasped tightly. She insisted she had added no sugar. She spoke of laughter, of a waved teacup, of nothing unusual. But when asked about the speaking tube, she hesitated. Then came Dean, the cabinet maker, calm on the surface, but his answers were too precise, too practiced. Old glue, he claimed. Pádraigín smiled faintly. No, she said, not old glue, new intention. Lady Bantry confirmed what others had ignored. Rowena had been watching Peretta, not kindly, not warmly, but with something colder. And then Rowena herself. She did not deny placing him in the chair. She did not deny knowing how he would sit, how he would laugh, how he would lean back. She simply said nothing. The clues formed slowly. The second spoon, the trembling maid, the cabinet maker, the speaking tube, each misleading, each incomplete, until one detail aligned everything. The sugar. Not random, not accidental, directional, intentional. The chair was sabotaged, Pádraigín said at last. Silence fell. Rowena closed her eyes, and when she spoke, it was no longer as a hostess. It was as someone who had waited a very long time. He destroyed my life, and the past came with it. Toby Glade, her husband, young, hopeful, newly married. A letter arrived, an opportunity, an investment, Peretta's name, but they never met, only words, only promises, convincing words, carefully constructed lies. Toby invested everything, then borrowed more, then lost everything. The mine was a fraud. The gold never existed, but the debt did. And Toby couldn't live with it. Her voice broke. He hung himself, and Peretta walked free. Tears fell, uncontrolled. So I waited, and I made sure he would fall. But Pádraigín was not finished. The sugar, she said quietly. Silence returned. It wasn't poison. It was proof. She stepped toward the broken chair. A sugared solution was poured along the back rail. It seeped into the joint, weakened it further, and when he leaned back, it failed completely. She turned slowly, and the speaking tube? A signal. The maid broke first. It was Mr. Dean. Dean laughed bitterly. He hired me, Peretta himself. Shock rippled through the room. He wanted a fall, not death. Pádraigín nodded, and Rowena made it final. two plans, one staged accident, one deliberate murder, one fatal outcome. The storm began to fade. Rowena was taken, Dean followed, and Pádraigín stood alone by the window, looking out at the endless grey sea. An accident, Doyle muttered beside her. She shook her head. No. A pause. A perfect lie. Her gaze returned to the broken chair, broken by the truth.